Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Runesnow, and here we are ready to explore Magic the Gathering Top 10 Sphere, that's right, so let's explore them. And now, at number 10. So the first card on our list is Vibrating Sphere from Ice Age. It's a rare which is going roughly about 34 cents on the market right now. It's at number 10, while it costs 4 mana. It says during your turn, all creatures you control get +2/0, but during all other turns, all creatures you control get -2. So it can be half and half, but it's at number 10 just because, well, it costs 4 mana, so you can kind of change it anytime. There's no tapping or ability or paying costs. So let's move on to number 9. At number 9, we have CHIMERIC Sphere from Weatherlight, which is an uncommon, which is roughly about 17 cents. At the time of Weatherlight, this card was actually very powerful, but right now this is nothing. Sphere goes by 2 colors until end of turn. It becomes a 2/1 artifact with flying. 2, it can become a 3/2 artifact creature without flying. So again, that's a really kind of a cool ability because you can use this as an artifact. So when it says destroy all creatures, this is actually an artifact and not a creature until end of turn. And that's the only reason why it's on this list and at number 9. So let's move on to number 8. At number 8, we have Gravity Sphere from Legends, and it's a rare, and it's one of the most expensive cards I've done in the top 10 videos. It is going for $107 currently. It's an enchant world, which is basically enchantment. It says all creatures lose filing ability. That is very powerful and very useless, but I really like this card because it really stops people from having anything with flying. So if you're doing no flying creatures, put this out. It's just a backup just to have. So let's move on to number 7. And at number 7, we got Detention Sphere from Return to Ravnica. It's a rare, going for only 96 cents. I thought this would be really cool at number 7 because, well, it's an enchantment, and it's white and blue, and it says, when it enters the battlefield, you may exile target non-land permanent not named Detention Sphere and all other permanents with the same name as that permanent. So that's really cool because that sentence alone is saying the same name as that permanent. So basically, that's really cool. When it leaves the battlefield, return the exile cards to the battlefield under the owner's control. So that could be anything on the board right now. So if you have 3 of the same card, this kind of takes them all out. It's a complete wipe, so which is really cool, and I like that. So let's move on to number 6. At number 6, we have Dark Sphere from various sets, but I like the dark, so that's why we got that picture. And as you just see, it's an uncommon going for even about 20 cents. The reason why it's here is, well, the casting cost is 0, so it's an artifact you can put out right away with, which would help certain decks, depending on how you do it. But the ability is you tap it and prevent half the damage done to you by a single source rounded down. Again, that could be very, very helpful with this 0 casting cost, which is really cool. It costs nothing to put out, so that could be very helpful. So let's move on to number 5. And at number 5, halfway down our list, is Shield Sphere from Alliances, which is an uncommon, going for roughly $6.68 at the time of this video. I don't know why I put this at number 5, but anyway, this card has so much behind it and so many great things. 1, it costs 0. You can't beat that, just like the other Sphere card. This costs 0. It's a wall. It's a 0/6 wall. Now on top of that, it has assigned as a blocker, put a -0/-1 counter on it. So if it blocks, you get a minus counter. So theoretically, that's still 5 turns for a wall that costs 0. Or you can use the triggered abilities of some cards where those counters on the wall don't even happen. There's so many combinations you can deal with. But unfortunately, there are some better cards than this. So let's move on to number 4. At number 4, we got Capture Sphere from various sets. It's a common for only going around 2 cents. I know it's not a very expensive card, but it's very annoying. That's why I like this, because it has flash. So for 3 colors and an island, as you can see, it says it enters the battlefield, tap enchanted creature. Enchanted creature does not untap during its normal untap phase. By then, 4 mana with flash, that could cause a lot of damage and annoyance. This is why it's at number 4, only because it has flash, which can very well be 100% annoying. So let's move on to number 3. And at number 3, we got CHAOSPHERE from Mirage, and it's a rare, going for roughly $10. And I like this. It's Enchant World. Instead of enchantment, they actually did enchant worlds back in the day. For only 3 mana, it says creatures with flying cannot block creatures without flying. Creatures without flying can block creatures with flying. So again, the saying is, I dance, nothing dance, feet in the air, knives in the ground. So it's kind of like a vicious cycle of this card going round and around and around. And I really like it because it only costs 3 mana for how much complete damage this can do. Again, it's useless if the deck is based on no creatures, but that's very rare. So this again, I love this card. I actually really like this card, but there's better ones. So let's move on to number 2. At number 2, we have TRINISPHERE, which is from Double Masters or Dark Steel. It's a legendary or rare. So it was legendary in Double Masters, and Dark Steel it was a rare. It's going for roughly about $18. So the picture is very cool. It only costs 3 colors. So the card says, as long as it is untapped, each spell that would cost less than 3 mana to play costs 3 mana to play. So that's a really cool ability. It's not targeted to you only, it targets to everyone, but you can use this to your advantage based on what type of decks they are. If they're building a fast deck, this card would be very helpful for you and be unhelpful for the enemy. So you're really kind of gambling with this kind of card. You really have to concentrate on what you're going to do based on this card. So let's move on to actually number 1. At number 1, we got Sphere of Resistance. It's from Exodus, and it's a rare going for roughly about $31.65 on the market at this time. It was very hard to decide whether to put this on the number 1 or number 4 spot because it's good and not good at the same time, but is the best one, so this is why it's at number 1. Again, 2 colorless. All spells cost an additional 1 to play. The sphere pushes equally in all directions, so that affects enemies, opponents, you, everyone. You can easily build decks around this, as it is an activated ability in the artifact. And some people may not agree that this should be number 1, but otherwise, number 10. And that is all we have so at the top 10. I hope you enjoy the video, and there's more on the channel. So I hope you guys have a good day and a good evening.